need to agree with the terms. Once they have been read, once you've read them, and then you can sign straight into GeoGPT. Previously, it used to take a while for approval to come in, but now I think it's roughly around 3 to 4 minutes. So we head to GeoGPT. So this is the address. Let me zoom a bit more, and you can see it here is geogpt.02x.org/universal login. And then if you have a password, you can log in. If you have an address, login, you can log in. Straight away, but you always have to agree with the terms of the service, and then you click login, and that will sign you into GeoGPT. So if I scroll down and take the window a bit down, you see that there is a section here. So I have to minimize the window for you to be able to see. Okay, there is a section here where you can just sign out. So I'll just log out again and show you how to do the proper registration. So if you are registered for the first time, you click on register, and then you come here, enter your email address. Let me use a different email that is all registered here, Kamaldeen Omosoya@gmail.com, and then you request for you get a code. You request for a code, right? So you can type in a password that you want to use, and then you get a code, and then you get a response like the code we just sent you a verification code, please check your inbox. So you come here, inbox. Yeah, you see it's quite fast now. So it's 13012, and then we put in here that, and then we submit, and then it says you have to agree with, and then you sign in, and now you are in straight away. So it's quite interesting what the platforms look like. Very simplified, and very easy to get downloaded. Now let's jump into the GeoGPT interface, where I'm going to show you how you can upload shapefiles, how you can ask questions using natural language, and you instantly can even analyze and style a map without having any coding experience, just you being smart and intuitive, right? You ask questions, you interact with the map, things that you think are natural to see on the map, you ask GeoGPT. And then other than that, I'm also going to show you how you can use the other tools that you have within GeoGPT. So now we head to GeoGPT, and this is what the interface looks like. It's quite simplified, easy to use, very well organized, that you can't miss anything out. Starting from the left hand corner, you see the GeoGPT icon, and then there is a tree pointing down, an arrow pointing down there, which is going to tell you about the details of the account. If I click on that, it's going to tell you the owner of the account. Yeah, and if the details about the owner of the account. I can also create a team. So for example, within an organization, you can have different teams: exploration team, production team, and so on and so forth. And you guys can collaborate within GeoGPT doing different stuff. So I can type a team name, say exploration team. I can upload the logo for the exploration team in JPEG or PNG file, not more than 10 MB. I can also provide a description of the team and also give the name of the leader of the team if I am, and then I submit that and save that as the team. But now I'm not creating anything. Yeah. And then if you've been interacting a lot with GeoGPT, you see some kind of history about some of your previous prompts here. Beside this is an arrow which allows you to collapse the window. So which means if you want to hide all the materials that you have here, you click on this and it's going to hide them, and you only have the prompting area. If you need to expand and open it up, you can do that, expand and open it up. And then if you want to do a new shot, you only need to click on new shot, and that gives you a new shot. But currently I am engaging a prompting, a conversation with GeoGPT, so I don't need to start with a new shot, right? Like I mentioned previously, if you have been prompting, I've been having some history of working here, you are going to find them here. I already cleared my history, so for the sake of the class, so if you have some history, you see it there. Other than that, you have a library, which is an e-library, where you save PDFs. For example, you can create several folders here, right? I can create a folder and name it, for example, if I'm doing a project, I say project 1, and I say enter, and then I can upload PDFs, files, and even other folders within that main folder itself, right? And these are other folders I have, like this is a chart. I think I can rename this or edit it and call it something like project 2. It's very simple, and I think if you want to delete also, you can delete or move it. So this is for deleting a folder, and that has been deleted. And here I have a folder called the Niger mineral map, so I can edit this and call it Nigeria mineral map, and then I press enter and it's going to be updated. And within this I have a file, a PDF file. You can read the description there. There is no title for it, it's just the name of the file. So if I click on it now, I can download and I can also read it. So if I click read, it's going to tell me everything about that PDF. So the document provided appears to be a mineral resource map of Nigeria, along with some explanation. Here is a brief summary. The map shows various locations and names, which are likely mineral resource sites or geographic features. Notable labels on the map include KA River and explanation. This section contains, and you see, and I think you can also do a download of it, and then you can also expand the window so that you can see this more as a full window. So now it's showing that map in full window, and you can go back to the preview. And I think it's also possible to do a snipe. So if you want to snipe an area in it, you can snipe an area, or even do a translation to translate it to French, Dutch, Russian, Spanish, Japanese. So it's multilingual, Italiano, and even Mandarin. So that's the beauty of the library. So I can close the library, and then it has also provided a summary here, which you can come back and copy if you want to copy. And if you don't like it, you can regenerate that. Regenerate, and it's going to regenerate the summary from that library, right, and make it better. So okay, so, and if it's correct, you do a like. If it's not something you like, you do a dislike. So with all these responses is going to get better, right? So now if you look at the recent chart now, you see that I have something about the brief summary about the geological map of Nigeria, and I can delete this if I don't want to keep the history, so it's deleted. So that's the library. You can go back to the library and also interact with any document that you have within the library. So apart from documents, you can also upload figures, you can upload tables within the library, and then you can recycle the library. So if you click on recycle, this is the material that I deleted previously, so I can completely delete it off. and then I can go back to the library, right? And you can upload more files, like I said, and you can also view the history of the library. So the more document you have here, that's how the number of pages are going to increase. And I think you can upload as much as 15 pages here, so as shown down here. So if you look at the history, it's going to tell us what I've done here, and it's I've had a work on permineralization. So this is one of the history my recent searches or prompting. Also one on how to extract legend and how to extract a map in it. So I can go back to the library, and then the library is a very good place to store your PDFs that you want to interact with GeoGPT. Now we go to expand. We go to expand this. So the next item here is the research tools. The research tools in GeoGPT. If you click on this arrow, you can hide and show them. You can hide and show them. I have separate videos that are focused on these tools, each of them differently. But I'm just going to do a brief introduction of what they do here and how you can use them. So your agent store is like a place where you can create an agent, like an application, like an app. So here you create an agent. Maybe you are creating something for tracking births or tracking the migration of whales or something, or you're creating a different one for monitoring temperature, like an app kind of a thing. You can create them here, and if you have created some, you can click on my agent to find the ones that you've created. But in this case, I don't have any agent created here or built in here. So, and okay, yeah, I think I did one on MudFlow here. So about groundwater contamination using the MudFlow data and remote sensing technique, right? So there's one agent that I built in here. And then it's going to tell you about the background, back-end properties of those things that you've done here in terms of the files that are associated with it, the tools that you've used. So I think these are some of the agents that you can add. This is AntVat generator. This is table OCR data extraction, drilling hole modeling. You can even search for most. It's like an Apple store, so you can search for different models that have been created. GIS tools. So this is basic GIS tool. It's already installed in there. Data extraction is already installed in my GeoGPT. And then developer tools, you find all of those here. Sequential thinking, it's already there. So you can search for all of those, and then you can install if you don't have them installed. Like this is an agent that aggregates diverse search engine and offer deep insights into user intent and efficiently deliver structured web data. There's Bing CN, which is Bing China. So it's like always a search engine for. So if you come to my tools here, you'll see them, and then all you need to do is just add if you need to add a new one, and then also confirm all this data. We'll come back to this. We'll come back to this definitely. So that's the agent for you, the agent builder, the agent store. So it's like an Apple store. And then you have the extractor. So the extractor is good for extracting tables. So if you want to do table extraction from a document, it's just a click off. So if you click here and say you want to extract a table, if there is a table here, you choose the document, you confirm, and then it's going to bring out the table in there. So if you click, and you can add this to the document or delete. Well, I don't think that has a complete table. Let's see. If we add it to a document, it's going to come on here. Okay, and then if you go back to the extractor, you can extract from even built-in data. Let's look at this, for example, characterization of so this is a table on 3D Paul nanostructures, and then you can select all the table You can add them to, you can even review them, I think, and see what it looks like from the main document itself. So this is from the original publication by Ian in Journal of Rock Mechanics and Geotechnical Engineering, and this is what the table actually looks like. So you can make a copy, you can paste, you see successfully copied, and you can even click on the source information to take you to the original source. Okay, so, and then depending on the tables that you want, you can just select them one after each, or just select all of them, or even delete some of them. Let's look at other documents. Look at this one, the treatise here. I think the treatise on paleontology. So the kind of information that you can extract from this document is already shown here. So if you expand, you click on the particular fossil. So I'm not an expert in paleontology, but I think if you click on one, it's going to lead you to that original document and tell you everything about that particular fossil, the graphic distribution, the age range, the description, the references for it. And you can create new columns here by just typing in the column name, maybe gaps in research, because this is about the authors, right? The document name, these are the document names, right? And then this is a more detailed information about each of them, right? And you can do an export here. You can export, once you highlight what you want, you can export them to wherever you want. That's the way the extractor works, right? And these are preloaded by GeoGPT, right? Okay, so the reader is just a reader. It reads a document normally, and then you just need to select the document you want to read. Let's assume I want to read the mineral resources map of Nigeria, and I'll click on read, and it's going to read it, and then you can also interact with it. So like, for example, the first suggestion is, please briefly summarize the content of this document, which is what it has done here, right? So if you can query it further, so like, who made the map, and ask normal questions. Just be intuitive and be interactive also. So the document provided is a map titled, it shows the map representation of the distribution of mineral resources across Nigeria, without additional context or a key to interpret the symbols, so which is a bit complicated. Yeah. So with this, you can even ask further questions. What minerals are found in Nigeria based on that? And it will give you insight into minerals in Nigeria. Nigeria is rich in a variety of mineral resources. Here are some of the key minerals found in Nigeria: petroleum and natural gas, coal, gold, tin and columbite, iron ore, lead, zinc. What are the economic impact of Nigeria's mineral? And questions on and on and on, like a chart with that document, single document. Mineral resources have significant economic impact, both positive and negative. And then you can read it, inequality, and then you copy if it's something you need, and then you can copy it. And you can even find the latest paper on this in Nigeria. Find the latest paper. So it's going to tell you about, because it relies on semantics column, which is not top there compared to Scopus, Web of Science and the likes. So you often don't get enough feedback, or often don't get access to the main or leading papers in that regard. So that's the extractor for you. So we go back to this. So that's how to use the reader. So for the idea generator, this deserves a full lecture, and I'm going to do that exactly. So the idea generator is more or less like you trying to do quantitative literature review, right? Using tools like Voice Viewer, if you are used to Voice Viewer, or using tools like our bibliometric studio. So in our studio rather. And then some people even have written some programs, some Python programs to do that. So where you require an API key to access some of these literature platforms like Scopus or Web of Science. So it's about generating ideas, right? And but you start out by analyzing the research background and questions, right? And you may end up with what we call a decision tree plus this word cloud diagram where it shows the trend in research over a particular period of years, and that can lead you to generate new ideas. So it's more or less like interacting with the tools like ChatGPT plus Voice Viewer plus to generate new ideas. So we are going to try this out later on. So then another resource that you have under the research tool is the map chart. So the map chart works with figures, work with JPEGs or PNG. But one caveat here is that it must be high resolution, right? And in such a way that it works with two kind of a map, the one with coordinates and the one without coordinates. Here they preloaded two samples here, so you can also upload your own if you have a map that is in PNG with coordinate or without coordinate, but you must select which one it is first. So if you select example of that map with coordinate, this is an example, and then you can interact with the map by clicking on different parts of the map. You can extract longitude and latitude information, for example. If you click on that, it means it shows you the location. So all you need to do is input in the correct coordinates for this, and I think these are correct, and you just confirm that. If they are not correct, if you have uploaded an image by yourself, you input the correct coordinate, longitude and latitude locations, right, and confirm that. And you can also do polygon extractions by clicking on different polygons, and you can extract them, because this will represent different rock types. But there is a video on that, on how to use this map chart, and you can ask for a text description of the image, and that's going to describe the map for you, provide a detailed feedback on the map for you. Unfortunately, this map doesn't have a title, but it's a geological map of an area in China, and then it shows the latitude and longitude and estimated range and area coverage, and also tells you about the legend, what they all represent: Ordovician, Carboniferous, Jurassic, Granitoid, Ultramafic, Porphyritic, Potassic granite, and then also talk about the ages, the scales, and the faults that can be seen on the map. So those, in my opinion, these are the three basic things you can do. Apart from that, from the polygon extractions, you can also extract points. You can extract points and chart with the map. Once I do the video on this, I'll upload these, and you see how it works in a more detailed way. The last resource in the research tool is the map generator, which is more or less like you uploading a map. So if you upload a map and then you interact with the map, and then you can prompt the map with different questions. So let's assume I want to upload the shape file of Nigeria. So I can go to GeoGPT. Let me see. Yeah, I think I have the shape file of Nigeria here, right? So if I want to upload the admin one, so you must upload all the 4 extensions, the .dbf, the dbf, the projection, the shapefile itself, and the index. So if you do that, it's going to upload, and then the moment it's uploaded, you can zoom onto Nigeria, or to the location it's geolocated. So this is successful. It's going to tell you, okay, now I'll start to render the map for you, and then set the background of the map. So and it has also given you suggestion on what you can do. So this is location map of Nigeria, and you can say set the base map to territory, and let's see what it's going to do. It's going to regenerate that. So, and you can see what it's suggesting. You want to change the base map to territory, like territorial, like this one, and you have to continue that. It's very, very interesting that you don't even need any GIS skills to edit the map. So you see that the background has changed, and you can say something like change title of the title to map of Nigeria, and say enter, and it's going to confirm from you if that's what you want it to do, instead of saying GeoMap by GeoGPT and saying change the title to map of Nigeria, and then you continue. There are a lot of interesting things that you can do here that I've tested out, and I'm going to show you in a separate video. Map of Nigeria here, right? And then you can even check it as an outline. If you click on this, it's going to show you as just the outline of the map, the boundaries alone, without the fill. You can look at the attribute table, what it contains, and then here you can play around with it. The only useful column here is the name 1, which you can use to call out the polygons, right? So that is the map generator for you. Very interesting, very useful tool, right? Apart from the map in generator, you can, if you click on this area where you have the name, you can switch language between English and Mandarin. So if you want it to be Mandarin, it's going to change to Mandarin. If you want it back in English, it's going to go back to English. And then when you click on the owner tools, you can see so many things here. For example, there is what they call the API platform. So the API platform is a very simple way of interacting with external platforms. For example, if you are looking at downloading Sentinel MODIS data, you can get the API key from, say for example, NASA had data API keys, and use that to download satellite images. If you're looking at weather data, you can use that. And this is all about the key. Once you create a key, it's going to tell you about everything about the key, the name, the date created, the time it was last used. It's like having a robot that you can just call on at any time and get information, temperature, wind, climate, weather forecast, and so on and so forth. And this is about the API document. So, and also tells you about the token, the limits to which you can extract. You know, it's like you working on Google Scholar and trying to extract references. If you get to a particular limit, or something like POP, publish and perish, like if you get to 1000, it's going to stop. So it shows you the token that you can use in a day. And then in the same tool, if you are still here, you can go back to the GeoGPT portal straight away. This is the GeoGPT portal, the home portal, and here you can still go back and get started again. You can go into the newsroom where you can read about the latest events happening at the company. Recently, they got awarded. The Senya Lab, they won an award, and yeah, you can read about their news. You can even look at the GeoGPT manual So if it's about the manual, you can read the manual. You can read about API documents and the likes. Okay, the manual is very simplified, very easy to understand. So I encourage people to read the manual, and it's not that long. So they've used very simple and easy to understand English language here. Okay, so you can, okay, I already spoke about it, because here you can take yourself to the portal, and then you can get back into your GeoGPT here. If you click on get started, you can give them a feedback here about anything that you think is worrying you, maybe, but you are limited to 500 characters in all. Like you want to report low quality, you want to record misleading information, unable to log in normally, things that they have a list of items there that you can look into and submit to them, like a feedback platform. And there is an email address that you can directly reach out to, which is the support email. And you can look into the settings, like you can change your name, you can change the name of your organization, you can update your login password here, and also your email address here, right? And then I already showed about the manual, which is a very extensive, well explained and very interactive stuff. So you can come here if you want to read about the extractor, you read about it with even pictures captured or sniped from it, and even giving you direction on how to use it properly. There are advanced tools that are not here that you might need to reach out to them to get, and I don't even know about them yet. So, but I think I saw a demo about the 3D before, which is a very good platform for making three-dimensional images. I think it's interact with DeepTime art, because they have a lot of art crop models from several parts of the world, and they are growing their repository. So you can read about their news, you can read about all of those. Okay, so that's a brief introduction into that. And then if you go to the news chart, this is quite interesting, very interesting site. So I think some of the things that you can do here are very direct and well explained. So like you will remember, I said that the engine of the GPT is the language models, the large language models. So you can have access to the different types here. You can have access to sorry, excuse me. If you click in here, you can see that the first one being used here is GeoGPT R1 Preview, which is a language model that allows you to do deep thinking and complex reasoning. You can use Llama, you can use Coin, you can use Mixtra, you can use DeepSeek R1 GeoGPT. The first one and the second one, they are more or less the same. So if you want complex reasoning, then you can swap between the different language models, right? And then you can change the model to deep discovery or deeper discovery. So either one that you choose would determine the kind of response, how fast your response is. If you choose deep discovery, you're going to get a fast search and reasoning. So maybe we should try something out. Let's try something that is very basic. What is the Bowen reaction series? And now you see we are using GeoGPT R1 and also using deep discovery, which is fast search and reasoning. And what it's going to do first is just confirm with you what you really want. Okay, let me try to figure out how to answer the user's question about the Bowen's reaction series. And once it figures that out, it's now going to provide a detailed feedback on that. I usually take 1 to 2 minutes, but if you use the deeper discovery, it will be very detailed, because it's going to access all the document that you can get from Semantic Scholar, right? And this is it. It has done a divination, and it will keep asking you, you know, for example, if you want to know the current research directions in petrology, you can click on that, or find the latest paper on Bowen series, or even find the applications of Bowen series. We'll click on that and see if we can see the applications of the Bowen reaction series. Of course, it's about mineral characterization, right? Remember, you can switch between the LLMs, but you only choose one that fits your task best. So it's up to you on which one you want to choose and use, right? But the first thing it's going to do is going to assess the question that you ask, prepare itself to answer the question, and then follow up with a detailed answer for you. Okay, so this is about applications of Bowen reaction series. Remember, you can switch in between, and once you have your answer, you can copy your answer, right? You can copy your answer and use your answer. I mean, I can start a new chat, right? So apart from switching between the LLMs and choosing either module of deep discovery, which is fast, or using an advanced technique, which is more detailed, you can access up to 100 papers. There are 4 other basic things that you can do here, which are quite direct. You can do an academic search. You can do an academic search, which is you just doing a normal research. So let's assume you want to find the latest paper related to paleomagnetics. I will just say let's do something that is in my field. Please find the latest papers published on seismic interpretation of magmatic seals from reflection data in the last 10 years. I'll be daunted if my paper is not among them. Okay. And then it's going to access Semantic Scholar to do that and try to bring out papers on magmatic seals from seismic reflection data in the last 10 years. So you can be very precise in doing that. So this is a normal academic search, like doing a Google prompt. So it has listed 10 papers here. So the deep structure of the North Natal Valley, Mozambique. I think this one is written by Claren and some guys. Reflection seismic data is systematic, 3-dimensional. Yeah. Seal cube. This one was written by myself and Kumar. So definitely on seismic reflection data. Seismic interpretation of seal complexes in sedimentary basin. I think this one is by Hyde and Nick. And then seismic reflection imaging of fluid field seals. Yeah. Crustal. But these are papers from Semantic Scholar. Don't forget that. Because it's not, Semantic Scholar is not, you will need access, institutional access or subscription to platforms like Scopus and Web of Science. So I think GeoGPT is getting there. It's developing every day. I can tell you, for the first time I use it and compared to now, it's far better than the previous time I use it. Analysis of vertical position, and it has given you 10 papers, right? So you can click on the paper. Let's click on my paper, for example, and it will lead you to that paper, and you can read a bit more about the paper. So this will require access, and then you can try other ones also if they require access. Yeah, this is still Semantic Scholar. Yeah, you can do that. Okay, so we'll start a new chat again. You can do a literature reading you can read literature. So if you upload a document, let's look at one of the documents that have been uploaded before. We can just, this is inbuilt. Please summarize the literature content of this article, and then you send, and it's going to summarize that for you. And it's reading that article, and usually it starts with being able to understand what you really want, and then it will provide the answer that you want for you. Remember, I said you can switch the language here. You can snip and also download the original file itself. And here I need to structure this summary clearly, ensuring all main points are covered without getting too detailed, right? And this is what it is doing now. The article reviews and synthesizes research on incorporating earthquake ground motion duration into structural analysis alongside traditional amplitude-based intensity measures, right? And duration of it, relationship between IMs, and then very, very lovely. So I can even ask it a question: what are the research gap? What are the main research gaps covered in the paper? So you can download that, copy that, and you can regenerate. Like I said, you can if it doesn't fit your answer, but I will probe it further. So let's see the main research gap covered in the paper. It's a smart way of first understanding what the query is about before providing an answer, right? So first, it has to make its own plan to understand what you are asking. Okay, so the paper addresses several key research gaps related to incorporating strong motion. One of them is neglect of motion duration in traditional dynamics, unrealistic scaling practices in the standard IDAs, lack of duration consistent ground motion simulations, insufficient understanding of IM duration relationships, and so on and so forth. And it has even done a comparison here, right? That's quite interesting. And then you can ask it many more questions. What's the funding source for this work? What's the funding source for this work? The funding source, let's see. So let's see, that shouldn't take too long. We can actually check from here if they listed their funding source while it's finding its own answer from the paper because it's reading it. Interesting how it has digested everything and dissecting it into smaller units. Okay, it's a very long paper, 35 pages, so 34 pages rather, and I don't think they listed their funding source here. Thanks to database and comment. So let's see. Document does not mention this funding source. They only acknowledge Afshari and this other guy. Cool. Okay, so we can go back again, new chart, and see how to do table extractions. So if you have already shown that, so if you have a table, you can extract them here. You can use any of the language models, and then you just convert the following table, and then you copy and paste the answer. So now it's in a table format, so you can copy and paste in your Word document or paste it wherever you want to. The last part is a bit very interesting. So it's about coding. So you can code here. You can do coding like Python programming coding here. You can even do some JavaScript in here. And for me, what I've seen quite interesting is that you can do a lot of GE coding here. So let's try something. Let's ask it to develop a code to access the certification in Ogun State, Nigeria, in the last 10 years. But what kind of code? We want a G code, right? And you expect it to do calculations of NDVI, dividing the area, NDWI, and the likes, and then even introducing a reducer to the area and doing some calculations, right? And this is quite good and interesting. And then it's going to analyze or prepare itself for the workflow, and then also now write out the code, which you can copy, test it out in Google Search Engine, or even use it in Colab, for example. So it's listing out the workflow while I close this, guys. And then it should now provide you with the code itself. We need some to do the shaping. Remember, I chose this language model, so it's going to be very detailed. And not just on the surface, like other ones. Yeah, reducers, extract slope bands, array, explanation of the array, matrices, and right. And let's see what it has finally done. Okay. And you can of course pause it and switch if you want a faster result. So, but I'm not going to do that because it's already running something interesting. And if you have your Python codes, you can bring in them here. You can do all kind of stuff. And finally, this is it. So we start with a comment: the certification assessment in Ogun State, Nigeria, 2013 to 2023, which is 10 years, using vegetation health from MODIS and also drought severity from NDDI. And you divide the study area of interest. Download that from this admin level 1 to get Ogun State, and then you download the MODIS data also and prepare it from the time, add the time filter, and also clip it with the Ogun State band, and then you remove the cloud mask from it, which is very good, and then you calculate the annual median, which is also reasonable to do, and you can put the certification indicators like NDVI trends, and then a coefficient like slopes, and then visualize the results, right, as CSV, and you can export this data into with the proper scaling and number of pixels for both of them. Fine, and it has explained exactly what it did here with the code, so you can open Google Code Editor, and then you sign in, and then you can run the code. So that is what the interface is all about. A lot of interesting stuff to do, And I'm going to come back to each of these research tools, starting with the map generator, followed by the map chart, idea generator, and create different videos on all of them, right? Yeah. So, like I always say, we need to talk about the ethical issues. AI can help you think faster, but not think less. It can be your creative mirror, not your intellectual crutch. Let it support your curiosity, not suppress your judgment. Stay bold, stay ethical, and above all, stay curious. Uh, Click the like button, share the video with your friends, make comments on areas to improve, and if you have suggestions on other tools you want me to look at, let me know. Thank you, and stay blessed. Bye.